Hopefully that's a vantage point you can see. I'm probably going to be in the way as I loosen the drain plug. What you're dealing with there is a 19-inch bolt. So we're going to use a 19-inch deep socket on a breaker bar, only because we when we install the pan, of course we're gonna get some crud. Some of the paint's gonna come off when we mess with the drain plug. That's just the way it is. It's painted, but you do see coolant. There's an intermittent coolant problem in this car that I have not solved, and the reason I haven't solved is I can't catch it doing it. So I would jack up the Z, get under the Z, the motor running, and no coolant dripping anywhere. So I could see where it's dripping from. I would be able to fix it, the leak, but as you see, it's on the front of the brand new, freshly painted transmission pan. I have no idea. I'm really perplexed, and most of my Z expert friends, they're all like, I don't understand. It's usually you have a leak or you don't have a leak, but you don't have an intermittent leak, and that's what we have. So I'm gonna try to position myself down where I can get on this. Not sure you guys will still be able to see. And of course, the beauty is we're gonna have transmission fluid's gonna go everywhere. It's gonna get on your garage floor, just know it. So this goes in clockwise, so we're gonna be pulling counterclockwise on it. Kind of hold onto the breaker. Now we didn't put it on super hard because like it was on there. I don't think it had ever been changed before, even though I paid to have it done twice. So we're trying to position this. Once we let it loose, it's probably going to shoot way out here and it's going to get all over everywhere, but I'll just show you. So what I do is I just try to loosen it as far as I can and then pull the drain plug away with my hand and get my hand out of the way. So we're going to get transmission fluid on this. There's no way around it. And then it's happening, and yeah, I didn't get it directly under there. That's just the nature of the beast. You're gonna get transmission fluid on you and on your floor of your garage. So just deal with it. It's just the way it is. So what we're gonna do is try to position this where it'll get, when it gets down to a drip, and then go ahead and start grabbing, you know, thousands of paper towels. But you can see that transmission fluid is still real clean. But I'll tell you one thing right now that validates Ken Chong's procedure and his recommendation that you that you flush it again with new fluid after about 400 miles after doing the servicing. That is not the color of the fluid that went in. So the 3 quarts that we talked about that remains in the torque converter, that you just will not drain out because it's in the torque converter. It just is. But when the transmission is operating and the torque converter is torquing, what it does is it converts torque as part of the clutch assembly, and torque converter converts torque from the drive shaft into the transmission. When it's operating, that oil and transmission fluid rather that's in the torque converter is circulating. So it doesn't just stay in there all the time. It's in there right now because the car is not running. You can't change the transmission fluid while the motor is running. The transmission pressurizes, and so anyway, I can tell you that fluid, it's only 400 miles, it should be pristine. If the transmission fluid in the transmission, all of it, including that which is in the torque converter, is absolutely 100% brand new clean fluid, then that's what would come out. But what came out just now was really nice. In fact, if you service this your automatic transmission once a year or every 20 or 30,000 miles, you'd be happy to see what we're seeing right now, the color of this fluid. But it is not the color of the fluid that went in just only a week ago. We don't drive the Z every day. We took it on a long drive, about 180 mile drive, to get the required miles on this fluid to try to mix it with the older fluid that was in the torque converter. And so that's what's happened. So I'm not going to really show you that, but I probably will film some more of the replacement fluid procedure, because it has to be done very exacting. This transmission holds about 6 to 7 quarts. It's hard to tell exactly because the Transmax didn't have a way to read how much fluid was taken out of the second gallon. But what we did is we immediately put a gallon in. So through the dipstick, and I'll show you how we did that too. We created a special funnel tube just that fits inside the dipstick out of a siphon hose. That's part of one of those hand pumped siphon that you use to siphon gas from your gas tank. We used one of those and it worked great. We're going to use it again, but we just went ahead and put a gallon in because we knew that it holds between 4 and 9 quarts, and that's because, like I said, the full load is 9 quarts, and that includes the torque converter, the amount that's in there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put in 4 quarts, probably 5, and then what you do is you start the Z, you go through all the gears with your foot on the brake, park, reverse, neutral, drive 1 and 2, and then you come back to neutral. So you do all of those just to make the transmission go through its gears and shift while you're sitting still. Then you go to neutral, and the only way to properly check the transmission fluid level is in the car running in neutral, and that's when we'll top off the fluid, and just to the high mark. You don't want to overfill it, you don't want to underfill it. It's a very exacting process, and that's what we did before, and it's what we're going to do again. So if you ever check your transmission fluid when the car's cold, even though the dipstick has a setting that says cold, don't trust it. The car needs to be running in neutral for you to get an accurate level reading. Okay, all right, so the other thing I wanted to show you real quick, when we did the transmission service a couple of weeks ago, week before last, we had previously moved the transmission cooler, which was a new replacement unit, because the one I'm about to show you and where it is here was bent when we hit the deer last November. But we were driving the Z, I don't even know where, just locally. We weren't even just out on the highway, very close by, when a cardboard box blew across the highway and hit, and we hit it. I mean, it just blew right in front of us. There was no, it wasn't like I could avoid it. Cars were in the other lanes, and so we hit it, and I thought, okay, I have splash guards. But the next thought was, what about the transmission cooler that's under there? I wonder if that cardboard box could damage it. And in fact, it did, and I'm going to show you. It didn't break, thank God, or we would have been pulled over immediately because all the trans fluid would leak out. But it was damaged by the cardboard box, and it's a cheaper aftermarket one. I'm going to show you what we did. So what we did is go to our spare bedroom, which is parts central for this Z, and we got this. This, you see the bend in it? This is a Hayden transmission cooler. Very, very well made. They're just awesome. But it was bent in the deer crash. It was not broken, or it's just bent a little bit. But we went ahead and got a brand new one. The new one didn't have any mounting plates attached to it. You see, this has mounting plates. And so we had to jury rig a mount for it, and this location was further back actually, and I just thought, we have the transmission pan off, we're doing the service. I'm not going to drive around with this aftermarket cooler that was on there that's got deep gouges, and I'll show it to you here in a moment. Not doing it, so we just went in and grabbed this one since it was handy. We'll replace this with another Hayden at some point, but there's nothing wrong with this one, it's just ugly. And we mounted it right here. I know people would say it's right behind the front tire, it's gonna get hit. No, it's probably not going to. It's a real safe location actually. And this is the new transmission filter that we repositioned all the previous location for this. The other aftermarket transcooler was further back, so we had to move and re-hose all this up. It took a couple of hours. I know it's not pretty, but it's highly functional, and so that was part of our transmission service, was putting this older kind of bent deer. It hit a deer hit this cooler, and it just bent it just slightly. So it's very well made. Hayden makes really good transmission and oil coolers for that matter. So we're a fan of it. We'll just try to get a new one of these and replace it at some point in time. But for now, that's where we're at. What I'll do now is I'm gonna come out and go show you the other transmission cooler really quick, and then the last clip will be